Greetings, beginner percussionists. Today's topic is flams. We're covering a new, what you would call a rudiment, and this is a brand new one that we haven't talked about at all. We've talked about rolls. Recently we did accents and taps. A flam is actually a rudiment, and it is made up of two different notes. Okay, if I have a right hand that plays a note, I would take my opposite hand, which would be my left hand, and I'd play another note right before it, but at a pianissimo dynamic. Check it out. One more time. I would call that a right-handed flam because my right hand is the main note, and I would play a small little note right before it with the left hand. If I were to do a left-handed flam, the left hand would be primary. My right hand would play a tiny little note right before it. Again. Okay, so there's a couple of things to talk about with flams. I have a diagram right here I want to show you. The primary note, which is right here, primary note, referring to this note played with the right hand right there. There's a smaller note that plays right before it, and that's actually called the grace note. The grace note. That's what it looks like on the page right there. You'll see that it's opposite right next to it. Most of the time the grace note does not have a sticking written under it, but you know that it's the other hand than what the primary note will be. Okay, if I were to play that right-handed flam, again, what that looks like is this. With my right hand playing the primary note, my left hand playing the grace note at pianissimo actually. Okay, I'm in page 44 on the book, and I'm looking at what flams look like. If I were to play several of them in a row with the metronome, these would be right-handed flams. Notice that my right hand is playing at forte, and my left hand playing the grace note comes in slightly early at pianissimo. If I were going to switch to the left hand now, it's completely the opposite. Here's warm-up number 12 on page 44. Starts with the right hand. Left hand. Switches back and forth, right, left, and alternates. And of course you could repeat that exercise like it says to in the book. Okay, common problems that people have with flams. If you open up your hand, it's like accents and taps. You want to have a lot of downstrokes that are involved. You do not want to open up your hand. That will cause problems if you open up your hand like this. Instead, I'm going to keep my hand closed, turn my wrist, and make sure I do a good downstroke with both hands. My grace note is really nice and low. When I alternate flams, a problem that usually happens is people will open up their hand and their grace note becomes too high, and we don't want that. Your grace note needs to stay low. Okay, here's the exercise right below it. An example with that would be with eighth notes. Sounds like this. And ready and go. Flams. Eighth note flams with the left hand. 4 on each. Now 2. And alternate. And that's kind of what that looks like. Here's line 1 out of the book. 2 and ready and go. And that's a lesson on flams. Hope that makes sense. Good luck practicing your flams.